P with Z. My name is Zamel Salaki, and it's an absolute pleasure to be joining each and every one of you again on another episode this morning. And if you are watching live, give me some likes, give me some hearts. Even if you're watching a replay, do the same. Some likes, some hearts. I definitely love your energy each and every morning, and that's what helps us keep us going. Because today is our 75th episode. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? It's absolutely crazy. And a special shout out to those that have joined us exclusively from the Limitless Network as well. Welcome to another episode, and more details about this in the description box below as well. And I'll come to that in a second. Now, a lot of last week, we reflected on a variety of different topics. And one thing that happened recently, which is, I guess, the inspiration for today's topic, is something that I've become, quite aware of the language that sometimes gets used between the things that we need to do in our lives. And when we start using these sorts of difference in languages, it becomes, I guess, ingrained in us what we need to do in order to fulfill that. And one thing that really started popping up on my radar was the language around have to versus want to. And just to give you some context around this, so over the weekend, we had a function to go to, just an event over the weekend to head to. And as you know, we've got a young daughter. We've got a young daughter, Syra, and Syra, obviously, we're kind of confined to sometimes of her routine and the requirements of, obviously a young child, an infant, and the routines that they go through, which limits our ability sometimes to actually go out and do the things that we want on our terms. Because for all of the parents out there, that sometimes it does become a little bit more challenging when you do have a young child and, I guess the events that you want to go to. And one thing that was really popping up recently was, I guess, the difference between what we needed to do for her, what we had to do for her, but then also what we want to do for her and also ourselves. And as a result of that, what was starting to show up was that we were starting to make a lot of sacrifices in order to serve her, well, what we believed was serving her, but in essence was actually taking away our ability to choose what we wanted to actually do. And when you look at these two different definitions, so have to and want to, and other people might throw should do in the mix or need to in the mix, but I really just wanted to focus on have to versus want to, because to me, I believe the intersection of have to and want to, so when overlapping on a Venn diagram, and I'll see if I can just bring this up quickly. Give me 2 secs, which is the cover of this. So I'm just going to see if this actually launches. There we go. So when you've got have to versus want to, I believe the intersection of this is should do. And when you look at the language involved in this, when you look at the difference in language, when you think about these things, have to is usually an external factor, usually something that is telling us that we need to do it based on an external stimulus. For example, I have to go and spread the washing. I have to cook and feed my family. I have to cook and feed myself. These are things that are somewhat non-negotiable as an external influence to us. If we have to nourish our body, ourselves from an external influence, if we have to go and seek advice to heal ourselves because we are unwell, so I have to go to the doctor today, I have to make this appointment because it depends on my job, that is largely driven by an external force. When we want to do something, it is coming from an internal source. It is because we ourselves believe that it is going to serve us. It is going to serve us. And that's why I believe that with this intersection between have to and want to, then we've got that intersection of should do. Should do. Because if we have to do it, if we must do it, and if we want to do it, well, then yeah, we should do it for sure, because it serves us. An external an external stimulus is serving us or providing us the desire to do something, our internal motivations are encouraging us to desire something. So then, as a result of that, then we should do it. But when we look at have to and want to in isolation, because as you can see in that diagram there, have to and want to are two separate things. What we find a lot is that we start sacrificing a lot of things that we want to do because we have to do it. And as a result of the have to, that phrase and that terminology starts creeping up to be an autonomous negative trait. And we start associating subconsciously negative actions as a result of that. Now, what I was coming off to, with this story to start with was, we had this function and, and Syra and it clashed, obviously it has some clashing with Syra's normal routine. And as a result of that, there was a conversation between Natasha and I about what we had to do and what we wanted to do. And what was picking up a lot of the time is, I guess a maternal instinct, was that what Natasha was sort of portraying, and I'm sure she won't mind me saying this because we deep dive into T with Z, we go quite personal. But what was showing up as a mother, as a maternal instinct, was the need to have to do this, was the need to have to take care and look after Syra at the sacrifice of wanting to go and enjoy herself at a party. And what I noticed more and more often, and Sarah is now over 8 months old, is that this started creeping up and started becoming a pattern where Natasha would constantly say that she had to do something in order to serve Sarah at the detriment of her wanting to do something else. And as a result of that, she was missing out on all of these amazing opportunities, these social engagements, and things like that because she felt that she had to do it. And as a result of that, subconsciously, I was seeing that this was starting to, even though that she didn't really recognize this, but I saw it, was starting to portray a negative outcome as a result of that. The negative outcome as a result of that was that lack of socialization, was that lack of ability to feel like she could go out and have a good time, knowing that Syra would still need some attention. And as a result of that, what I, was able to come out of this was saying, I will stay with Syra. I will look after Syra. You go out. You want to have a time, an enjoyable time. And as a result of that, she was able to go and enjoy the party. And once again, at the end of the day, yes, there was a sacrifice made on my behalf there, but it was a combination between have to, want to, and as a result, I should do that. And that's that critical part there. That's that critical part that constantly misses is that should do. Should do. Because when we look at them just in isolation, of course, we feel torn. We feel torn. Whereas when we see that overlap, and when I started researching this topic a lot of the ways portray it between need to or want to or have to or want to. And they don't really factor in this middle pillar there that should do. And so for me, it's not one direction or another. It's finding that middle ground. Finding that middle ground to allow us to get that intrinsic motivation to actually want to do it, knowing that we have to do it as well. So as a result of that, I had no regrets because I found that middle ground. I found that middle ground to go, well, that's exactly what I need to do right now. I want to do it, so I should do it. And as a result of that, there weren't any regrets. I was intrinsically motivated to do it, not lacking anything from an external source or the negative perception from having to do something or being told I have to do something. And as a result of that, I found that middle ground. And so the reason why I wanted to bring this up for you today is where is your middle ground on your journey, in your health business, on your health entrepreneurial journey? Where is your middle ground between relying on an external source, being have to, associating negativity with that desire? Subconsciously, you might not even be aware of it. If I have to do something, then turning around, bloody hell, I have to do this. Damn it, I have to do this right now. Versus that other side of wanting to do it where it comes intrinsically and going, you know what, I'm really passionate about this. I want to do it. But unfortunately, with the wants, the problem with the wants is that they start adding on a list because the haves overtake it. The haves overtake it, and the wants start coming down and down and down on the list. So, how do we balance it and come to the should? And so, in your own health entrepreneurial journey, how are you balancing that for your team and for yourself? How are your friends and family balancing that? And please tell me in the comment section below. Think about this, and at the end of the day, this might be quite reflective because you might not even be aware of it right now. You might not even be aware of the language that you're using and the results of that language that you're using. Because think about the coding from our childhood. If we're told to do something, it's because you have to do it. It's because you have to do it. Oh, why do you clean? Oh, Samil, go clean your room. Why? Because I said so. Okay, well, I have to do this because my mom said I need to go clean my room. We start associating that I have with an outcome of something that we don't really want to do. It becomes a chore, it becomes laborious. Whereas when something fun and motivating, hey, Samil, what do you want to do today? What do you want to do today? It's not that, hey, Zamil, what do you have to do today? Yay, let's do it. No, it's what do you want to do today? And as a result of that coding, we subconsciously have wired ourselves to associate the have with the chore, the desire to do something as a result of external stimulus being told to us, whereas the want is something driven from inside us. And so that's my question for you today is what are the haves in your life versus the wants in your life? And how can you make them the shoulds in your life? So start thinking about the language that you're using today. Get one of your loved ones, your friends or your family to watch this video and get them to start picking up that language in them in you as well and you in them. Because when we can start to recognize the haves in our language versus the wants in our language, we will very quickly find the shoulds. And as a result of that, our productivity will exponentially grow. Our fulfillment, our well being, our life will exponentially grow because we've found that middle ground. Well, we can intrinsically motivate ourselves knowing that we're doing something ourselves, but also in service of others. And so that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So definitely drop your comments in the comment section below. And Tash and I had a very open and honest conversation about this on the weekend. And here's her comment here. Morning, I was very grateful and that I brought this to her attention as I wasn't aware of the language I was using and the impact it had. And so what's your takeout? What's your takeout for this as well? Your haves versus your wants, translating to your shoulds. So that's it from me today. Really reflective, and I'm really keen to see your responses in the comments section below, because at the end of the day, this is what it's about. And I'm going to throw that diagram that I whipped up quickly this morning. Have to, should do, want to. What is it for you? So that's it from me today. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Tea with Z. Hope you've had as much fun as I have. But if you want to have even more fun, jump into the Limitless Network where we deep dive into an exclusive topic every single Friday. Every Friday, we deep dive exclusively into a topic in the Limitless Network, and it is growing each and every day. And thank you so much for all the people that have brought others along the journey as well. So that's it from me. I really look forward to catching up with you on another episode of Tea with Z tomorrow. But for now, stay well, stay safe, and thanks for watching. Catch you then.